Hi, and welcome to Homeschool Advice with Laura Geis. I'm Laura Geis, author of the Homeschool Toolkit and founder of HomeschoolAdviceOnline.com. This week's homeschooling question says, I have a hard time getting school started in the morning. The kids drag their feet. Do you have any tips for me? Well, the hardest part of any task is getting started, so let's talk about some ways to get your school day started. Number one is try to begin your school day at the same time each day so that your kids get into a routine. And especially when your kids get older, give them the responsibility for getting up and getting ready on time. Give them alarm clocks, or they could use their iPods. Most of those kind of devices have alarms on them, so that you're not responsible for waking them up in the morning. Put that responsibility back on them. Now, in our homeschool, we begin the day with family devotions and a history lesson. And if my kids didn't make it downstairs on time for the school day to begin, then I would have them do an extra assignment, like read what we read today in our devotional and write a paragraph on that, or read the history pages we went over today and I'd like a 2-page report on that by 3 o'clock today. So there was some kind of consequence if they didn't show up on time. Also, you could take away a privilege, like if you let your kids have screen time or television time, you get to, if they're 20 minutes late for school, you can take away 20 minutes of their time to do that thing that they like to do. So I set up consequences if they didn't show up on time. Number two, try to begin the same way each day. Again, we're going back to having a routine in place. So, like I said, we start with family devotions and history, so the kids know what to expect in the morning. And at my house, we normally do that in our pajamas. So they get straight out of bed, come down the stairs, we do those two assignments, and then we break and have breakfast, clean up breakfast, everybody gets dressed, and we're ready to start the rest of the school day. So we have a very predictable routine that they know what to expect every morning. And it is important at some point in the day that you do get dressed. I said we start our day in our pajamas, but that lasts about a half an hour, and then everybody needs to get dressed. There's something about just getting up and pulling your clothes on that gets you ready to go and ready for school. Number three, set an example. So if you're wanting your children to be on time, then you need to be on time. And if you want them to give school their full attention, you need to give school your full attention. In the beginning, I was very guilty. I'd start a load of laundry before school was ready to start, and the washer would go off in the middle of our lessons, and I'd say, hold on everybody, I gotta go switch the laundry real quick. And that just kind of ruined the continuity, the flow, and interrupted everything. So I try to schedule some of those household things where it won't interrupt a crucial part of our lessons, which is, for me, is the beginning of the day, getting things started. So give school your full attention. And another tip is to have all your materials ready. I know in our history lessons sometimes we would have a worksheet to fill out or something, or a map activity, and if I didn't have the worksheets copied and ready to go, or I didn't have the map out and I had to go to another room and get that, that was distracting also. So if you have your materials ready, that helps too. And finally, remember that you need to relate tardiness to the world of work, because when you're teaching your kids, it's not all about academics. It's the other skills that you're trying to build in them that will help them to be successful later on in life. And you know yourself, if someone's late for work every day, eventually they're going to get fired. So explain that to your kids. I really want you to be a success. It's very important that you learn to do things on time, that when something's going to start, get there a little bit early, and that will help you succeed later on in life when you have a job or you have commitments. So if you have any other ideas on some great ways to start your homeschooling day, post them on my blog at www.homesschooladviceonline.com. And while you're there, if you haven't signed up to get my free plan book, you can do that. And don't forget, send me a question so that we'll have something to talk about next week on Homeschool Advice with Laura Geis. See you next time.